Hi guys, today I'm going to be trying to tackle a problem that I've had the last couple of winters is the heat in this Porsche Boxster. It never gets much more than warm. I mean, you can wait for the car to warm up all day long and you're never going to get really hot air out of this thing. And I have noticed looking through the internet that this is a pretty major problem with a lot of people. And one thing to look for when I purchased this car, the dealer that I bought it from had not really even cleaned it. There was all these little pieces of foam all over the floor and all up in the air vents. And I'm going to try to show you real quickly. So if you look right here in this air vent, you see that little piece of foam right there? When I bought the car, all the vents were just covered in it. I pulled it all out. This one's just shown up recently. But from what I understand, this is the problem, that the mixing doors that are back here inside, they close off to direct cold air from the outside to go through the heating core and then to come out up here. The problem is the doors have holes in them that are covered with a layer of foam. The foam eventually dry rots and falls out, shows up in your vents or on your floor. And then the cold air, even though the door closes to route the air through the heating core, the cold air just comes through the holes that are in the doors themselves. Now, I don't know why the doors have holes in them in the first place. I'm guessing that it is sort of a relief in case there's a blockage and the air builds up on the inside. It won't damage the fan or something. I don't even know. But anyway, I have looked around and I've found the best solution for me. There's a couple of different ways to do this. One of them is to go through the front of the car, the front cowl, to take the windshield wipers out, the front cowl out, the heating core out, and to try to go in through there. The other option is to go through the console, through the area where the radio and the climate control thing is, and that's what we're going to be doing today. In order to get these panels off, you'll need a trim tool set, and I was actually going to buy one off AliExpress for what I thought was very cheap. If you're not familiar with AliExpress, it's like Amazon but in China, and some really cheap stuff on there. But it was going to take about a month for it to arrive, so I decided to look at Amazon and actually found almost the same exact kit. It would be here in 3 days, and it was actually $2 cheaper. I was actually amazed at that. But I have all kind of trim tools. There's things to take the radios out. Here's some replacement plugs, clips type things. Here's the tools that remove the radio. But there's picks and these little keys here to help you if you have some wiring connections that need to be replaced. This is how you get in and pop the wires out of the connectors. But anyway, like I said, got this off of Amazon. Here's the name of the company. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Bineur something. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, you'll need something. At very least, you'll need a couple of these guys to start popping these panels off. Here we go. Once you pull this out, everything's kind of color coordinated. So you see the yellow dot on top, the yellow plug. So I'm going to pull this. Gracious. Quite a fight. There we go. And the cigarette lighter. Let's see. There we go. Set this aside. Start on this side. There we go. All right. Nothing's hooked up on this side, just these dummy plates, so that was easy enough. Okay, and there's a couple of bolts here and here. They're T20s, star bit. And it looks like a couple of T20s back here in the back as well. Okay, there's also a couple of T20 screws up here. I couldn't see them without the flashlight. There we go. My wires back through so I don't pull anything too much. Okay. Car here. So I'm going to unplug the antenna. And then there's a couple more connections with the radio. Here and here. And what looks like maybe a ground on the side or something. All right. And then the climate control. Looks like there's 3 different connections here. A little tab you push in on the side. I don't know if you're seeing that right there where my thumb is. Push that little tab in. There, I can set up this out of the way. Okay, so here's the hole where the radio and the climate control were. You can see the duct here that brings the air conditioning and the heat up to the 2 vents that were up here in the center of the console. And what I need to access is actually behind this duct right here. So what I'm going to do is take a brand new razor blade and a box knife, and I'm going to cut a vertical slit right here and over here on this side so that I can then take and bend this front part of this ductwork down and out of my way. All right, just one more little piece. There, I think that got it. So there are both mixing doors. See the large holes? I don't really understand what they're for. Anyway, I just picked this up at the local True Value hardware store. It wasn't very much. It's a metallic tape. That I may have damaged the first little bit of. But anyway, that should cover it. It should not shrink. It should not dry rot. And it should take care of the problem. All right, so I've used some duct tape to actually hold this flap down so then I can get back in there. That's maybe a little better view of those doors. See, one of them has the long holes and the one in the back has the round holes. See how I can do this. Okay, so there's the first piece of foil tape over the first door there. There's only just enough room for my hand to go in that hole, so I'm not going to be able to film me putting it in there. But anyway, you get the gist of it. Okay, so that's 2 pieces. So the top holes are covered over, but I will tell you that door is a lot longer than I thought it was, and when you get down into this part, it's very difficult to get your hand down there with the tape on it. So I'm not sure, it's not as neat as I would like it to be, but I think I've got all the holes covered. Now I've got to figure out how to get that door out of the way so that I can tape over the door in the back. Okay, so to get the doors to move, I actually had the negative off the battery. I had to put that back in. I've got the key switched to on. I don't have the engine cranked, but the key switched to on. And I've been messing, I reconnected the climate control system, and I've been messing with it. And what I've noticed, if you hit certain things, the doors move, which is what it's supposed to do, of course. But now I finally have access to this door back here, which is going to be an even harder thing to tape. But anyway, that's how I finally got access to it. Okay, so there's the back door, if you will, taped up. Also a very sloppy job, but once again, this one's even harder. You have to look at it really good with the flashlight before you put your hand back there, because you won't be able to see it all, and kind of go by sense of feel, even though you can't really feel much with the tape on your fingers. But anyway, this door also kind of wraps around towards the center at a 45-degree angle or so, and also there are holes going down that edge as well, beveled edge as well, so you have to tape those up too. I'm gonna go and run this climate control through its paces and make sure these doors open and close just fine. I want to make sure that I haven't, you know, accidentally taped the door to the floor or to the back wall or something in there, and that it has full movement before I close everything up. Okay, so I have taped my ductwork back up, and I went ahead and used the foil tape. It's a really good sticky tape. I used it on this outside part because no one will ever see that through the radio and everything. And inside, I used black duct tape because you might be able to see that through the vents. I'm not sure, but I didn't want the shiny foil tape staring back at me. But it seems like it's made a pretty good, solid, you know, reconnection there. So go ahead and get the radio and everything mounted back. All right, so got the radio back in, the ducts and everything. Got my wires pulled out for the switches and the cigarette lighter, and I'm just putting the last few of these T20 star bolts in. I will say the two that are back in there, they're a little bit of a pain, but yeah, get them all back in and hand tightened. So I got this panel here now. Just line it up. Should just snap right in. I think that's got it. Now, as for this one, like I pointed out before, these switches are all color coordinated with the different wire plugs here. And then, of course, the cigarette lighter on the bottom. Okay, so starting on the bottom with the cigarette lighter, making sure the wire's coming through the hole for it. There we go. And now the fuchsia. That's your convertible top. Now the rear window defroster. And finally the door lock. Tuck everything in. Snap it back into place. Add back in my cigarette lighter. And that is that. Okay, so already I have the heat set for high coming out the vent. The temperature of the car has only reached the very first little white mark there, and I'm already feeling air that's warmer than what had normally been. All right, so now the car is up to temperature, and I will tell you that feels incredible. That is so warm, so hot, I should say. It was warm before, but now it is hot. This is going to make my wife very happy. She doesn't drive yet, so I take her to work in the mornings, and she hates to take this car on cold winter days. Although I only drive it when the afternoon temperature is going to be hot enough to drive with the top down. But, oh, this will be nice with the top down driving in the winter too. Yeah. All right, well guys, thanks very much for watching. I hope this helps. This whole project took maybe 30 minutes. Wouldn't even have taken that long probably if I wasn't shooting the video. But yeah, all the controls are working just fine. Got hot air. It's a win. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.